Hello and welcome. My name is Hannah and today we are practicing watercolor again, and I am mildly excited about it. Watercolor is not something yet that I am in love with, but I'm trying to practice to try to fall in love with it because I feel like there's something there, but I'm just not quite there yet. We've been on one date, okay, and I'm not sure if there's going to be a second or third date yet. Well, yes, there is, because this is the second date. Jeez. So this is the second practice session that I've been doing so far, and I have a few different things in mind that I want to paint today, and I'm really excited to get going, but also very nervous because I don't know what I'm doing, and I want to try, but there's so much that's unknown for me. So I start off doing a wet on wet technique for this amazing, beautiful building that I found. And I don't know how to do wet on wet, and I felt immediately in over my head. So I tried to dry off the paper so that I could go back to what I feel a little bit more comfortable with, which is wet on dry. So yeah, that's why I did all that weird stuff at the beginning. I even tried to do an outline for the building, but then I immediately draw outside of those lines, so it doesn't end up helping whatsoever. But for this building, I actually really like how it turned out. It's one of my favorite things that I draw today, but in the moment when I was actually painting this, I was almost starting to cry because I was having a good time. That's not true. I was very overwhelmed, and I don't know what the problem is with me and watercolor. I think we have an initial love-hate relationship, and I want to turn that into a love-love relationship. But I guess it wasn't that I wasn't having a good time. It was just that I was realizing that I had all of these emotions towards watercolor. First of all, that watercolor doesn't deserve. I've told myself that watercolor is so hard and so, I've attached fear onto it. So every time that I would sit down to try to learn something or get ready to learn something, I just immediately would bottle up and I would be like, nope, this is really intense. So then it wouldn't be fun. So I had all of these plans today to learn technical skills. I don't do any of those things, and that's okay because I've realized that the thing that I needed to learn the most wasn't to learn anything at all. It was to separate the emotion that I had from watercolor itself. And it shouldn't be that stupid, but for me, I know that that's what I really needed to do, and I'll tell you that by the end of this session, I am much more excited about watercolor. So that's 2 thumbs up. We had a pretty intense second date here, but it won't be an eternal second date. There will be a third date. Some kind of progression will happen in the future. And I'll tell you, I'm currently working on a watercolor project, and I don't have any of those dumb fears. So I would say that today was 100% a success, and I'm really excited about that. So with this building, I had one goal, and that was to work on the gradients between light color and dark color. And I'm trying to keep my colors separate in this one so that I'm not really practicing mixing colors. I just want to get good at the transition between light and dark within the same color. So I guess ultimately I am kind of working on the milk tea honey method, just not so deliberately. I'm just starting off with a super watery color and then slowly transitioning to a more concentrated version of that in that same puddle. Does that make sense? But the other things that are included in this building, the windows, the window awnings, and the gates, and the things that you can see with your eyes. I don't know why I always have to explain to you what you're seeing, because you have eyes. You can see what I'm doing. Anyway, so what I'm trying to say is I'm going to attempt the other things on this building, but I am attaching zero commitment to actually making it look good. I'm just gonna try to have fun doing it, and if it looks cool, that's awesome. Then that's like a cherry on top. And if it doesn't look cool, I take no responsibility for it because it wasn't the thing that I was trying to learn in the first place. At this point in the painting, I took a step back and I looked at this and I was so proud of how this looks. Like, I did not expect starting that this would have this kind of result. So I don't really know what happened or if it really doesn't have to be that complicated. Am I just complicating all of this all the time for no reason? Probably, because that's usually how I just live my life. I make things way more complicated than it is. What I was trying to show you there is that the building was looking a lot more orange than what mine had. So I wanted to try to add like a glaze on top. And the first glaze that I put down didn't really do anything, so I darkened up my concentration and reapply the glaze, and it turned out really good. After doing this glaze, I felt so confident about everything. Maybe too confident. But this tree, I shouldn't have even added it, and I'll address that a little bit later. But for this side, I'm ready to try a little wet on wet. But don't get your hopes up, okay? So I went into the second one feeling very overconfident, as I said, and I had this vision of drawing something like an island of trees that were in fall, so like the fall color trees, and immediately I didn't know what was happening. So my panic was rising by the second because I knew that everything is wet and I need to be doing things while it's wet. So I'm trying to think, okay, what do I need to be doing while it's wet? And I don't know. So I kind of took this moment to take it as a loss and treat it as like, okay, what happens when I do this when it's wet? What happens if I do this? So I can't explain like what I was doing. I was just kind of like experimenting, which I guess is the whole point of doing this. So instead of continually talking about what I don't know, what I do know, what I did learn throughout this whole process is that paper really makes a difference. This is the Lucetti sketchbook, and I'm not trying to sell this to you. I was influenced, I was influenced into buying this sketchbook. It was every ad on my Instagram for about 2 weeks, and eventually I was like, yes, this really does look amazing. And I just happened to get onto their website at the time that they were doing a big drop. They don't constantly sell them, they sell them in batches. And it's actually kind of funny because I was like, this is taking a really long time to get here, but it's a new business, I'll give it like some leeway. And they ended up emailing saying, hey, your sketchbook fell into the ocean. I guess it was even on the news that there was like cargo containers that fell off of the ship right outside of the California something, and the sketchbook that I ordered was in one of those cargo containers. Anyway, it's not funny. Like, I feel really bad even laughing because I know that for them it probably was not like laughing matter, but it didn't bother me. In fact, I was like, okay, this is a kind of a cool story, and it will be even more exciting when a new one does get shipped out. And they were so good about, keeping communication open about what was happening, and they did send a new one. So like, it wasn't a problem for me. I felt bad for them. They had to deal with this. But onto this fox. So I was really excited about this fox. The shape of it looked really simple, and I wanted to give wet on wet another shot. So I took out this giant brush and applied a layer of water and then tried to apply a really like concentrated orange, but I didn't get it concentrated enough, and so I kept like lifting my brush to try to get the deposits of paint really concentrated. Anyway, so I moved to a smaller brush and start working on it. And this one was like confirmation that watercolor really does kind of have a life of its own, and it can do some really cool things without you really knowing that it's happening. But I was also learning so much about paper. I thought that the last paper that I had used is like how all watercolor paper is gonna behave, but that wasn't the case. This paper, it let the watercolor stay wet for a lot longer than I'm used to. So it really took the pressure off of trying to speed paint. And that's really where I fail. Like, I am such a slow drawer, I'm a slow painter, I've learned. And so the wet stuff, I think that's why I'm scared of it, because I know that I'm slow. Anyway, that's kind of beside the point. But this paper is really incredible, and I spent a lot of time feeling really guilty for like snatching one up, because I knew that this paper was going to be really good based on the things that I had read about it. And I felt like, well, why should I have one? And I still feel a little bit guilty. Like, if you walked up behind me and said, hey, that is a really good sketchbook for professional watercolorists, I'd be like, yep, you're right, here you go. I'm sorry for having touched it. Anyway, I need to not feel guilty, and it's okay to be a beginner. I need to keep reminding myself of that, because it's something that, it can hold you back from so much. Everybody starts out as a beginner at some point, so I have to keep reminding myself of that and being okay with that. But ultimately for this fox, I kept it pretty simple with the colors. I didn't try to add any crazy colors. I really just used orange. I'm sorry, I don't know the colors, but orange, a yellowy orange, and I know that the dark blue that I used is Payne's Gray. So those are the three colors that I used for that. And then I moved on to this Pigeon. And I wanted to try, I don't know why I was doing this, but I wanted to try everything without an initial sketch at first. So I was doing this freehand. I ultimately was just trying to cover up the background that I hated so much in the moment, but looking back, like, the background isn't that bad, and it looks weird. Like, definitely it could use some improvement, but at the moment I felt like that it was I ruined the whole thing. But yeah, looking back, it's not that bad. I even asked my husband, like, what's wrong with this? Please give me honesty here. And he's like, well, maybe it's that it's an island of trees. He's like, maybe you should expand it so that it's going, like, the tree line is all the way from edge to edge. And I'm like, well, yeah, you're probably right. So ultimately my problem wasn't that, like, anything about the actual painting. It was like what the painting was. Anyway, so in an effort to cover up the background, I wanted to draw this bird with all of the colors as concentrated as they could be with paint. So I was dipping straight into the tin. I don't think I show you at all, but I didn't make any puddles. It was all straight from the tin. And I think the fact that I wasn't putting that much emotional effort into it, like, I ended up having a better time with this one. I somehow was able to let go, because the effort wasn't, like, I wasn't concentrating on making a good bird. I was concentrating on covering up the background. But yeah, I think it turned out really cool, and I love the bird's expression, even though it's not like exactly what the reference looks like. But it's making me laugh so hard. The one that I painted looks extra pissed off. Like, he's looking next to himself being like, excuse me, can I help you? So I ended up kind of just using this bird as an experiment and going overboard to see kind of where that line is of what's too much. And so I try, like, to go overboard just a little bit. And then I take out a pen to see kind of if pen might be too much. And I ended up really liking the pen. So then I end up going back to the building and adding pen on the building too. I'm not really sure if the lines added to the building or took away from the watercolor aspect of the building, but I think the fact that I can't tell means that it's not better or worse, it's just a different style. And I think that is cool, because that means that there's no right or wrong way to do watercolor. Like, whatever you feel like doing in the moment, do it. But I think it's really cool that there's so many different ways that you can finish a watercolor painting and it helps, or like at least it adds some kind of a texture to it. I don't know. I really like how this turns out with the lines, but only on the top half. I think that I preferred the bottom half without the lines, but I feel like if you do it at all, if you do the lines at all, you have to do it everywhere. So I don't know. With the tree, I was trying to see if I could lift the paint after it dried because I didn't like how it turned out. And it was really cool that it did lift a little bit after it dried. So yeah, that was cool. I was going to be done with the spread before this second bird, but it just looked really weird, like the whole composition. I wasn't focusing on composition at all, but when I was done with it, I looked at it and I was like, this needs something else. So since the first bird looked like it was already kind of looking over to the side at something, I decided we'll just put something there for the bird to be looking at, and here's a second bird. This was the first painting today that I actually did try a sketch beforehand. I stopped worrying about if the sketch was going to show through the lines, and I'm like, well, who cares? Like, maybe it'll look cool. So I used a coal erase pencil for the outline of the bird, and it really, really helped to, have a line to stay within. And that's the only reason why I was excited to draw this one at all, was just to see kind of what would happen if I painted over lines. So once I did that, I was like, well, let's just screw it up and see kind of how bad we can make it and be able to fix it. I ended up going back after the bird is done and adding in colored pencil just to kind of see how that would look, because I haven't tried that yet. And I went overboard with it, but like that's okay because it's all just for fun anyway, right? But there was something that I was learning that I didn't realize that I was learning, which is really cool. It's brush control. And there is one thing that is kind of a problem for me, like having to hold the paintbrush up so high. I'm sure you've noticed the scar on my wrist. I have a lot of scar tissue inside of my wrist that hurts when I hold it at certain positions. And the way that I'm holding the brush up so high, like it was starting to really hurt. So I don't know if it's a matter of just building up those muscles around that scar tissue, or if I'll just have to figure out a better way to position my wrist or even stand up. So I ended up going back on the background, like I took a step back after the birds, and I just kind of felt like it could use a little bit more heaviness up to contradict the heaviness of the birds on the other side. So I add in like a dark background, and I really like how it turned out. And I think that I was secretly just really excited to practice line work and getting up like really close to a line without going over it. Like I think my OCD, like the OCD part in my brain, was really craving perfection. But this is how the whole spread turned out. And what I learned most over any technical skill today was how to kind of separate the weird emotion that I have from watercolor itself. So thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Toodaloo.